Hey there, this is Lori Howard, and I'm an executive career coach and professional resume writer with Lori Howard Coaching. And if you've been feeling a little frustrated with your most recent job or your current job or even your career, or feeling stuck and thinking about making a change, I'd like to invite you to take the Career Heart Test. Now, the Career Heart Test is hands down the best and most effective career assessment tool that I have ever used. In fact, this is the first activity I now do with each and every new client, and I have been doing this for several years. Now, over the years, my clients and I have tried and tested many different kinds of personality assessments. Now, you may have heard of some of them, and you may have even used some of these yourself. There's DISC, Myers-Briggs, StrengthsFinder, and there are many more out there. These personality assessments can be very eye-opening. They can give you some really interesting information about yourself and how you like to operate within the workplace or within your relationships. They can be especially useful if a team takes the same assessment together at the same time, because it can give them a common language so that they can communicate with each other about how they like to engage and interact. However, hands down, when it comes to career assessments and giving you guidance in terms of what is the perfect career for you, without exception, the Career Heart Test has resulted in more insights and actionable information than any other tool that I have used. Now, I want to warn you, you may think this is too simple to work, and you might be tempted to just skip it entirely. Don't. Take the test. It's only 10 minutes, and this simple 10-minute exercise could reveal the perfect next job for you and give you the answers you've been looking for. So, it's really easy to take. The first step is to think of your current or your most recent job. The second step is to just make a list of your typical daily tasks and activities. Start with the first thing you do when you sit down to work on Monday and work through. So what does that mean? What do I mean when I say tasks and activities? So the first thing I want you to think about is, what do you do every day? Where do you spend your time? Now, here's a list provided by my clients with some ideas to get you started. So first, let's talk about meetings, right? We all spend time in meetings of all different kinds. So I want you to identify, what are the meetings you find yourself spending time in? Are you meeting with peers? Are you meeting with teams? Are you meeting with staff who report to you? Maybe you're attending board meetings, investor meetings, or client meetings. Maybe you're going to networking events outside of your organization, or attending trade shows or some other professional event. Now, another thing that we all spend time on is email management and response. I also include in that text management and response and phone call management and response. We all have time. We all have those activities in our day. So don't forget about those mundane, just sort of, it's a given kind of things. Make a list of those. The other thing you might be spending time on is just down and dirty troubleshooting or problem solving. So think about what kinds of problems you solve, who you're solving those problems for. Are you doing some planning, maybe some budgeting? Maybe you're connecting with other people in your group or in your department or in your company, or collaborating. Maybe you're doing just some down and dirty hands-on work, right? The thing that you and only you can do, or something you prefer to do yourself. What kinds of things are those? Maybe you're negotiating agreements. Maybe you're doing some community outreach. Maybe also, like many clients of mine, you're creating and delivering presentations. Maybe you're doing some research. Maybe you're doing strategizing. Maybe you're spending your time on other things entirely. What do you spend your time on every day? Now, I also want you to make note of who you spend your time with. In traditional career assessments and coaching, we look only at what you do, but there is so much more to job satisfaction. And one of those elements is who you spend your time with. So here's another list of ideas to get you thinking. Maybe you're working with staff. Maybe you're working with coders or IT technicians. You're working with engineers, customer service, customer support. Maybe you're working with C-suite executives. Maybe you're working with sales. And if you're working with sales, are you working with sales reps? Are you working with like a regional director or the VP? Are you working with marketing? Maybe you're working with designers. Are you working with people outside of your organization? Industry colleagues, clients, vendors, partners, potential collaborators, legal representatives, or other people. Maybe you spend some time on your own. So as you identify what you're spending your time on, I want you to note who you spend your time with also. And then finally, where are you spending your time? And I mean this physically and geographically. So lately, we've all been spending a lot of time working from home, or many of us have. So if you're working from home, where is that? Do you have a standing desk? Do you have a dedicated home office? Or do you share an office? Maybe you're relegated to the dining room table or to the living room. Where are you spending your time? Or have you been working in an office during this time? Or maybe you're starting to migrate back into working into an office. What does that look like? Is your floor plan an open space? Maybe it's now cubicles or you have some separation. Do you have dedicated workspace at the office? Maybe you have an actual office with a door. Maybe even though you have an office with a door, you also spend a lot of your day in conference rooms, in meetings. Or more recently, perhaps most of those meetings have become virtual or video. So you're on a device, on Zoom or something similar. So maybe you're on your desktop or your tablet or your phone. Are you now traveling? Do you travel for work? I have some clients who travel a lot for work that cut back during the pandemic, but now they may start traveling again. And if you're traveling, where are you going to? Is it local, regional, national, international? Where do you travel to? And how are you traveling? Car, plane, hotel, something else? Are you going to client sites, vendor sites, or are you meeting with someone else? So where are you going as you spend your time throughout your day? Now, the key here is to write quickly and don't stop until you're done. I want you to include everything you do on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, and then don't analyze anything or draw conclusions. That step's coming, but not yet. Now, what I'd love for you to do is pause the video right now and do this activity. Make your list. And then when you're done, you can click resume. So welcome back. And if you've made your list, good work. And the next step is to very quickly review your list. And I want you to do 3 things. The first thing I want you to do is put a heart next to the items you enjoy, those activities that bring you joy or satisfaction or pleasure. Then I want you to put a frowny face next to the stuff you can't stand. Now, we all have those in our days. For me, anything related to QuickBooks gets a frowny face. Finally, I want you to put a 0 next to the items you feel neutral or meh about. You don't love it, you don't hate it, it's fine. Put a 0 next to those. Now, once you've done this, you're going to get to score your results. We are so close to the finish now. So, in terms of scoring your results, I want you to just count up the hearts. How many hearts do you have? I want you to count the frowny faces. How many frowny faces do you have? I want you to count the zeros. How many zeros do you have? And once you've done that, now you can analyze your results and draw conclusions. This is the point at which you start to really identify what is it you want. Now, the goal, as you may have figured out by now, is to have more hearts and as few frowny faces and zeros as you can. So in order to do that, I want you to review your list and ask yourself these 3 questions. So first of all, what do you want more of? As you take a look at your list of hearts, are there things you know you want to continue doing? Typically, those are things you want to keep. So identify the list of stuff you want to keep, and then also look at what are other things that give you pleasure that you'd like to be doing more of. Make a list of those. The next question I want you to ask is, what do you want less of? So how can you get rid of the hearts, or not the hearts, how can you get rid of the zeros and the frowny faces? Now, frowny faces are typically pretty obvious. People acknowledge right away we want to have as few of those as possible. The zeros are a little trickier because it seems like, well, they're fine, so I don't need to get rid of those. But I want to tell you a story about a client of mine who, when she did her initial assessment, she had no frowny faces, a couple of hearts, and a long list of zeros. And the way she was feeling about her job overall when she came to me was kind of, it's fine. I just don't feel engaged by it. I'm not excited by it. I feel a little bit drained by it, but I don't understand. Now, as we worked to get rid of the zeros and increase the hearts, she began to feel a sense of pleasure in her work. She loved what she did. So the zeros can be as damaging as the frowny faces. The goal is to have as many hearts as possible and a short list of zeros and frowny faces, unless you can get rid of all of them, which is awesome. So now the question here, once you know what you want more of, and what you want less of, the third question is what needs to change? So change can come in many different forms. You might be able to implement changes on your own just by delegating. Take a look at the zeros and the frowny faces and see what you can give to someone else who might love them. Because, you know, it's like one man's trash is another man's treasure. One man's frowny face is another man's heart. One woman's zero is another person's heart. So just because you don't love it doesn't mean no one does. So that's the first place I'd look, is to see if you can trade out. Now, another thing you might want to do is to just sit down with your boss in a one-on-one and ask to make some changes. Maybe in going through this list, you realize it is time for a promotion for you. You are ready, you are eager, and that is what you want. Maybe it's time to just seek some other kind of job change. Or maybe it's time to look for a job somewhere else so you can have the things you truly want. Now, if you've gone through this activity and you feel like, yeah, I'm not sure yet, Lori, I need more information, then go repeat this exercise for other jobs from the past 10 to 15 years. And just continue to add to your list of hearts, frowny faces, and zeros. And then the goal is to have as many hearts as possible, right? So go back and re-ask these 3 questions. Of those new hearts, what do you want more of? Of this new list, what do you want less of? And what needs to change? Finally, now if you're at a point where you feel like I could really use some help debriefing my results because I'm not too sure, or I would really like to map out a strategy to move forward so I can find my perfect fit, my epic next job, then I would love to help you, because I've set aside some time to speak with you privately at no cost to you so I can help you do just this. So use the link below, schedule your call now. The link is bookme.lorihowardcoaching.com/CHT-consult. That's for a career heart test consult. I look forward to speaking to you. I look forward to helping you. Take care and stay safe.